Hello, M School. We are finally complete with going through a tour of the 64 gates of the human design system. And I wanted to share a resource with you. I just got the idea as I myself was building out my energetic profile because it is a lot of information that has been laid out to you over the course of, gosh, this entire month. So probably 3 or 4 weeks. I think I even started this back in October. So there's a lot of content that's coming to you. And we're going to have a little bit of a break during Thanksgiving. So you can take your time copying and pasting your gates into your energetic profile. But it's a lot of information. As I was going through the energetic profile and the way it's set up, it might be a little bit overwhelming because the gates themselves, I had a document, it's 177 pages of what I posted inside the group. So I can imagine how that might still be a lot more information. So I wanted to share a way for you to kind of use Chat GPT to get a summary of making sense of it all, of like, okay, well, if this is the gate that's in this planet, how can I summarize it so I can just have an overall uh, guiding light to understand, okay, this is the theme of it, and then go deeper by understanding a little bit more about that gate. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to go through the Google Doc, which I'm going to share the Google Doc with you once I format it a little bit better. I have the Google Doc with all of the gates, and I'm also going to include a little bit more of a summary for the different planets so you can have that. Now, please keep this Google Doc to you. Is copyrighted, because what I'm going to do later on is that I'm going to build it out even more and turn it into a guidebook slash workbook, journal, prompts, all the things. So you'll see some of that on the side as I go through it, but not all of that is going to be in the digital format. Again, because it's something that I'm going to be selling and sharing on Amazon, that you can actually get your own version printed when that's ready. But I am going to share at least the explanation of the planets as well as the gates themselves. So let's start with looking at the energetic profile. I just kind of made a copy of mine as I was like going through mine too. I was like, you know what? Let me do mine with everyone. Here we go. So when you go to the energetic profile, I want to make sure you go to File, Make a Copy, okay, so that you can have your own copy of this. Now, what I've done here is I just made it an outline of everything that we're going to be going through as far as human design. I'll put the channels in there. I'll make sure I put, oh yeah, I have to put the channels. I'll put the channels in there as well. And then, or sorry, the arrows in there as well. But this is the information that we want. This program has been designed to be really giving you the basics. So if you're a beginner in human design, and getting you to the intermediate level, and not necessarily so deep where you're going to go and make a living out of reading people's charts. This is a stepping stone to that. So if that's something that you decide later on in your life, in your business, you could do that. And this is going to give you a great foundation to understand how to read your own chart, but then how to read other people's chart for leisure, for fun, so your family. So I want you to be able to have this outline. So as you're building and you're learning all about your own design, you can put what pertains to your specific chart into this Google Doc instead of having parts that are irrelevant to you. Now, here's the thing though. If you do not have a gate activated, if you do not have a center activated or a channel activated, it doesn't mean that you don't have those energies. Because as we are, we're born, we go through life, we have different influences from our parents, our caregivers, our siblings, our family. We can take on some of the energy in our open spaces. So that is meaning that we get conditioned. Now, we can also get conditioned in our defined spaces. So when I study this, it can be a little bit of a mind F. You're like, wait a minute. I thought I'm supposed to be constant in this. I thought this was supposed to be. So human design essentially is just really an experiment. You get to experiment with all of the energies, and you get to know that when you are at your truest essence, your truest self, that you are going to be the most like the defined areas. So that is what you were born to be able to exude that energy, right? So you're going to have that constant ability to be able to tap into those energies. It is a process of awakening and remembering that how you're energetically built. And so the more you're aware of these things and you have a lot of self-reflection and you take time to understand, then you're going to begin to have a lot of aha moments, maybe even a sense of relief and a lot of confirmation of like, this is why I felt that way. Or this is why I do something this way. And this is why I am the way I am. This is my life purpose. This is how I'm supposed to interact with people. This is how people are supposed to receive my energy. And this is how I'm supposed to receive other people's energy. So you get this like sense of relief and confirmation and just a knowing. And you'll begin to release or shed energies, beliefs, thoughts that aren't in alignment to your greater purpose. So I want to do a little bit of a recap. When I first introduced you to the planets, we talked about how the planets are like a room within your home. So, the living room has a certain function. The bathrooms have a certain function. The bedrooms have a certain function, and the kitchen does, right? So think of the planets like that. The sun, so your conscious sun and your unconscious sun, your conscious sun is something that is like 70 to 80% of your life purpose, of like what you're made of. So it's going to really influence a lot of your life and your decisions and all the things. So if you want to really master anything, master getting to understand the gate that is in your sun, because your sun is about the life purpose. So if we were to think of the planets as bedrooms or rooms inside our home, and the gate as a theme of how we're decorating it, then we would think of, so let's say the sun is the living room, right? Then we would think that if I had gate, mine is gate 41, then my living room is going to be about fantasy. It's going to have, I don't know, maybe some posters of like fantasy movies. So that I want you to be thinking about that. Like that's how you can make sense of it, because it can get a little bit overwhelming. It's kind of like when I think about working in your business or on your business, like, wait a minute, how does that configure? Like, what does that specifically mean? Does it mean I'm working in my business or on my business? Do you know what I mean? It's kind of the proposition of it all kind of gets a little bit confusing. So keep that in mind as you are building out your energetic profile. Be thinking of it as a room. So in this room, so let's say Venus, in this room is about my values. It's about my love, my relationships. And then let's say that you have gate 10 in your Venus. Well, gate 10 is about self-love. So I value self-love, or it is in my energetic profile to value self-love. And so you get to check, am I in alignment with that? And then going back to the signature theme and the not self theme, as you're going through and you're saying, okay, this is the room, this is the theme, and you're checking for misalignment, you ask yourself, based off of your type, your signature theme or your not self theme. So as a generator, in my room, in my Venus room, where it is, I apply self-love here, am I feeling satisfied? Or am I having some frustration? So as a generator, remember, your not self theme is frustration, and your signature theme is satisfaction. So some things that you could be looking for is, okay, well, if my conscious Venus is self-love and I'm feeling frustration, and we're not going to get into the centers, but I'm going to go ahead and just kind of like show you how you can apply the centers as well. And let's say you have an undefined heart/will/ego center. It's all the same thing. They just call it 3 different names. Then you can ask yourself, am I frustrated in this area because I'm looking outside of myself to fulfill that self-love? And what are ways or exercises or things that I could do to fill my own cup? to be able to show myself love. So that's just kind of an idea or an example of how you can apply all of this together. So going back to this document over here, I have made it where I want you to be able to obviously edit it. So you go in and you put exactly what this is. You go in and check this is defined. So then you can go put your notes in here. What are the things that stand out to you? What feels like you're like, yes, this feels really good. This makes me happy that this is what I resonated with, but I just never allowed myself the permission to be that. Or if you've come across things where like, yeah, I noticed that this feels, it's getting me out of alignment. It's getting me, my not self thing. These are the things I want to be mindful of so that I can improve those things, or I can set a boundary around those things. So you want to be able to put your notes in every single area for the centers, which we already done the centers, I guess a while back. So then you can kind of skip down here. You can click on the left side, and here you could put your gates. I put an area for you to put all gates if you wanted to, and I just started one, put it 1 through 6, but obviously you can copy and paste the rest of them as you'd like in there. So here is for you to put your own gates as it pertains to each of the different planets. Now, this is what I wanted to show you on bringing ChatGPT into filling out this form for you, this Google Doc. So that way you are not having, thousands and thousands of pages, because it's eventually like if the gates alone, like I said, is 177 pages just from the way I formatted it. I mean, there's more information that I can include, but I really wanted to simplify it and make it in a way where it's relatable instead of like, wait, what? Like I don't understand that. So that's why there's a lot of storytelling. There's a lot of examples. But for here, what I was thinking is like, man, if I copy and paste everything for my gate 41, let me come over here, look how long that's going to be, right? And so that's just kind of going to mess up your, that might just kind of like mess up your whole energetic profile format. So, it's however you want to do it. I'm just giving you another option. So what I came up with is like, how can I get a quick summary so I still understand the essence of what this means, so I can have like a quick reference guide, and then I can go in later on and fill out the more details of that specific gate in that specific planet. So that's where I went to ChatGPT. And so I was thinking, how do I get this set up on ChatGPT? Now, once I complete the Google Doc and I give it to you, I'll give it to you in a PDF format. If you have ChatGPT where you upgrade it, you can I don't know, it's like both versions, I'm not quite sure, where you can upload a document. This is going to be a lot easier. You're not going to have a lot of copying and pasting. So here's what I did, and I'm going to give you the prompt a little bit later. I really want to fine tune the prompt so that way it gives you the output that you want. So you have to have the proper input so you can get the best output. So in here I put, let's imagine that each planet on your human design chart is like a room in your home, and each gate in the planet is like the decoration. With that being said, if the sun room, and I'm going to change that a little bit, if the sun was a room really, was defined as this, so I put what the sun means, and the sun means it represents your core self and life purpose, provides insight on the theme of your and the direction of your life, all the things, right? And I put this because this is actually going to be in the Google Doc as well, another relatable way to understand the different planets. So I put the textbook version, and then I also put the a more understandable, palatable way, I guess you say. And so I went in and I put that part, and then I said, and my gate in the sunroom is defined as this. So I copied every single thing that was in that that section for the gate, right? So I put the manifesting with the gate, all the things, right? And then this is what it gave me. It says, to live more in alignment with gate 41 in your sunroom, focus on harnessing your vivid imagination and creative energy to manifest tangible outcomes while being mindful of the timing and avoiding getting lost in fantasies. This gate is part of the sunroom highlights the importance of using core self and life purpose as a guiding force to transform your expansive dreams into impactful realities. So that summarizes what the sun is about, that room, right? And what that gate or that decoration is about and how they come together. So I'm going to clean this up for you, but I wanted to give you some maybe encouragement or just giving you something to look forward to, because now that we're complete with all the gates, you have all that information. You get to bring it in, get to tighten it up a little bit so it can make even more sense for your specific chart and your energy type. Now, we can, and I'm going to put up a post a little bit later, a poll. We can either continue to go dive a little bit deeper in December with the gates, and we can go and apply the different lines. Like for instance, I just commented on gate 64 for Carolyn. Hers is a 64.4. So if you notice that let me see if we can do it here quick. Okay. So every planet is going to have a profile line. Normally, when we talk about, what our type is, we always say, I'm a generator 5-2. We look at the unconscious and conscious sun or the conscious and unconscious sun, because that is essentially like the biggest part of us, right? But each of the planets also have their own profile lines that associate with the gates, and they have a little bit of a different meaning. So for Carolyn's, her 64.4, which is in her Venus, the 4, the point 4, the profile line 4 is about conviction. So she applies that to the Venus, the room, and the 64, which is about confusion. And she has that other layer there. So that's just another opportunity for us to go even deeper. If you guys want to go deeper with now adding the profile lines and seeing what they mean for those specific planets, or we can go on to the channels, whichever you would like. So what else is that I want to say about this? Human design is very complex. There's so many different areas. I mean, look, we have obviously the centers that we've already gone through. We have the channels that we're going to be going through. We have all the gates. We have the planets, how we're applying them together, just kind of really shortening the time of like learning it by going ahead and just applying it to each of the different planets. We have the arrows, which are not shown here. We have the incarnation cross, which is just essentially the different planets. Let me show you right here. Let's get out of there. Maybe not. All it is your why can't I go back? Your incarnation cross is essentially your subconscious, unconscious and a conscious sun, and your unconscious and conscious earth. So it's kind of like the way they cross there. And that is more of a compass for your life's direction, and then how you get there and what grounds you, all the things. So, there's just so many different layers of it. And then we bring in the arrows and all the stuff. So when you are learning this, or when you first got introduced, the type and the strategy and the authority makes a huge, huge impact. But I like to think of it this way. It's like being in a car. You know what the car is, right? That's the type. You know the strategy. So that's the direction you're going. And you know the authority. So basically that's like the driver. But we can also think about who's in the car, because sometimes other people in the car influences us, right? Maybe they distract us. Maybe they have to stop and go to the bathroom, all the things. And so that's how I envision the centers and the gates, because they do have influence on the way we live, and they give us the nuances, make us different, right? The variations of having the centers being defined or undefined or even open, and the gates, all that, it changes, it gives us more customization to our energy. And so that's why it's so important to not just know your type, strategy, and authority, but to understand these things, because some generators may be like, I just don't feel like a generator. I feel like I don't have that much energy. Well, when you look at the centers and the gates, there might be some energy leaks there that are exhausting you. and maybe even causing some emotions that further exhaust you because you haven't given yourself the permission and grace to understand that's just how I am. So, like for instance, because we just wrapped up with confusion gate 64, you have gate 64 in your chart, you can feel shame that you're confused. You can beat yourself up. You could, just be really hard on yourself that you tend to run into confusion. But knowing these things beyond your type, beyond your strategy, beyond your authority, then you allow yourself to be like, this is part of the manifestation process. This is part of me figuring the next step out. So you don't go down the spiral, of all the different levels of emotional energies and the frequency, right? Where he goes all the way down to shame, you get to be in the higher frequency, which puts out a higher frequency to attract more of the energy and the things that you want. So I hope this was helpful as you go and build out your energetic profile. Please, please, please always ask me questions because I love to answer your questions. All right, I'll see you guys inside the group. Bye.